Hello all and welcome to Wow Crochet yet again for another tutorial. My name is Mary and in today's tutorial we are working on this gorgeous little border for our, or mine I should say, my doily or placemat or washcloth or whatever it is you are making yours for. Ah, very nice. Well, I like it anyway, that's just me. Anyway, it's a fairly basic border. It shouldn't take you too long. It's a 2-row border. You will be using the blue as your first row. Oh, by the way, there's your cotton. It's a little bit of a disheveled mess, sorry guys. It is the same cotton we use to make this piece. If you would like to make this particular piece, I will leave a link to this piece in the description box down below, and then you can join us for today's border. I mean, look, very nice, very nice, very nice and flat, no bubbles, and you could fudge it a little bit too, which is what I did throughout the tutorial as well, especially around the corners. Okay, it didn't matter. That's the joy of this particular border. Now, this is one way of doing a border for the corner to corner granny square. But there are many ways, and I've done quite a few ways, and I will pop links in the description box down below as well of the different ways that I have done the border. So let's get a nice close-up of the stitch. I think it's gorgeous. I know, right? Totally cute. So you will need, yes, your combination yarns, the yarns that you use to make your piece with, or whatever yarn you would like. You will need your let's try your crochet hook. Same crochet hook you use to make your piece with. Okay, same size, 4.5mm hook I used. You will need your sewing darning needle, yes. You will need your scissors, and you will need 4 stitch markers. And if you were left off where I left you, you would already have your stitch markers in each corner. It didn't really matter. It's just to show you where the corners were. All right, so that's all I want to say about that, guys. I'm not going to talk anymore. We're just going to get started with our corner to corner border. Good luck, guys. Where I left you was to make sure you had your 4 stitch markers in. Firstly, I'll make sure that you've all got your stitch markers in exactly the right place. So let's start off with the very first section that we started crocheting with, and that is this one right here. We did our chain 4, and then we did our slip stitch, and so on and so on. So this is where I want you to put your first stitch marker. Oops, let me blow that out again. And right opposite to the other side, there's the one that we finished off on. Remember, we slip stitched in there. Okay, don't put it through the stitch. That's no good. How do I manage that? So you're just putting your stitch marker through the space, not the stitch. Okay, so we slip stitched into there. We did our last 3 double crochets, chained up 4, and then turned around and slip stitched into there. That's where I want you to put your other one. These ones are a little bit more difficult. You've got your 1 row red, 1 row red, 2 rows red, 2 rows red. Right on that middle row, which is the 3rd row on either side, you pop it in the space of your last double crochet, right in that middle row. Yes? Now, turn your work. Okay, this side a little bit more trickier, only because you have that kind of space is on the opposite side. So you still need to focus on the middle row. So that's your first rows right there. That's your first row. That's your second, and that's your third. So pop your stitch marker in the space of your middle row right there. Now, that's the stitch markers easy. Now we go on with the first row. Now I find, what's the right side, what's the wrong side? We don't know. But because it goes backward and forward, I tend to find that that first set that you crochet into, you chained up 4, you slip stitched, you turned, you chained up another 3, it might have been 3. Yes, you chained up 3, you did 3 double crochets. So to me, this first one, the side facing us, not that messy side right there, kind of bubbled, but the neat side facing us, to me, that's the right side. It doesn't matter either way. Again, that's just the way I work. So I'm going to turn it a little bit like that, pop my hook in, take out that stitch marker, and you can use whatever yarn you like. I'm going to be using the blue for this part of the border, and at the final part of the border will be red. Why? Because red's my favourite, not for any other reason. All right, so here we go. It's my favourite colour, but don't tell anyone. Shh, our secret. Okay, so pop the yarn. Oh, I should have shown you what I was doing there. Pop the yarn over your hook and just pull it through. Oh, it's far too close. You can see my little dots all over my hands. All right, here we go. Pass that tail end over like so, and away we go. We are chaining one, and chain is a yarn over your hook, pull a loop through, but you should know how to do that since you've done your whole piece. Okay, now we're going to put a single crochet in the same space. So single crochet is pop your hook in the space, pull a loop up, and you have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2. That's your first single crochet. We're going to put 2 more in there. Okay, wait, before we do, we were going to use a stitch marker to pop in that very first stitch that we just did, and that stitch is your V looking thing there. All right, because that's what we're going to slip stitch into at the end. I remember to do that this time. I usually forget those stitch markers, so there you go. All right, so now we're putting a second single crochet in there, like so. 2. Notice how I'm crocheting over the tail end, and then there's a third single crochet in there. 3. Pop that tail at the back. You are going to put 2 single crochets in that space. You don't need to crochet over the tail end anymore. You're going to weave that in that same spot later. All right, 2 single crochets in that space. 1, 2. Now there are many ways of doing this border. This is just one. 2 single crochets in your next space. 1 and 2. Now if you're anything like me, you would have this tail right here, the blue one. Now that blue one belongs here, but yours truly is going to hold it with her fingers at the back. Another tip, I do this often in my tutorials, hold it at the back and crochet over it in the next space. So you're going to be putting 2 single crochets in that space, and I'm going to be crocheting over that tail. You don't have to, you can crochet over it in the next space, but I'm going to do it here. 1, 2. We're going to be doing 2 single crochets in your next blue space. 1 and 2. And here we come to the red. Okay, we're going to do exactly the same thing. We're going to crochet over it this way though, because there's only one red there. If there was another red, we could have done what I usually do, but because there's only one, it works better to do it this way. When we come back around here, we have to do that way of crocheting over it. Okay, so in the meantime, we are doing 2 single crochets in your red. There's 1 and there's 2. It might pay to just pull that little red thread down at the back there, and then in your normal blue space you're just putting 2 single crochets. 1 and 2, and again 1 and 2, and again 1 and 2, and so on and so on. Okay, this is the easy part, guys. Single crochet is so easy and quick. Yeah, hope you're enjoying your crochet journey, and I hope you're enjoying watching Wow Crochet. We all here enjoy. I say we all here, probably thinking I only ever see you, but there's a few more things behind the scenes that you don't see. And some of it, of course, as you already know, is my son, who does a lot of the music for the channel. All right, we are now up to 1 and 2. I'll continue on that subject in a minute. We are now up to this red right here. Now the tail you don't have to worry about because it's over here, but we will be crocheting over that when we get there. Being very careful now, we are coming to that corner. Okay, the number of stitches changes when we get into the corner. Okay, so we're doing a single crochet in your red, your 2 single crochets, sorry, 2 in your next, 1 and 2. All right, now there is your stitch marker. That is your corner. That's the same thing that we did right here where we put 3 single crochets, yeah? So now we are going to pop 3 single crochets in that corner. Just do the 1 so you don't lose the corner. There's your first one, and then you take out your stitch marker. Okay. 1, 2 and 3. Well, what you're going to do, I want you to pop that stitch marker in that very first stitch of your corner. It's just to show you it's the first stitch, all right? And I'll explain that to you in your next round. Now here's that area where we can actually crochet over the tail this way, okay? You don't have to, you can do it the other way, but this way I find a little bit, it stays in better because it's facing this direction, okay? So we are doing 1 single crochet. Don't pull that tail too much. See how that one just pulled right up? You don't want to pull it too much. 1 and 2. And again, 1 and 2. And there's your blue tail. You're going to crochet over it this way because it's the blue color and you don't want to pop it in the red, yeah? So you're doing 2 single crochets in there. 1 and 2. Popping that tail at the back there. And 2 in your next. 1 and 2. 2 in your next. 1 and 2. And as I was saying, you know, there's a lot of other things behind the scenes that you don't see, especially the ideas area. Sometimes I get the ideas from you guys, which is great. Thank you so much for that. When I do my lives on Saturday morning and Wednesday afternoons. Saturday morning it's 10 a.m. and Wednesday afternoon it's 4 p.m. This is Melbourne, Australia time. Other than that, I get my ideas from family and friends. Now I have quite a large extensive range of crochet friends, only because as I was learning how to crochet 100 years ago, I tried to look for like-minded people, and by doing so we've been giving each other ideas all these years, and it's been wonderful. And I should have crocheted that blue in. All right, sorry about that guys, let's try that again. The tail end is all, we've got tails everywhere guys. All right, so there's that tail end. I have come to that tail end right there, so we are going to do a single crochet over it, and then we can give it, tug it all into place. Okay, 1 and 2, 1 and 2 in your next, and you have come up to the red. So what you need to do is just pop your red over and then jump into the next space, the red space, with your 1 and 2. Drop it at the back. Go into your blue with your 1 and 2. Just be prepared, we are coming up to a corner guys. 1 and 2, and when we do this corner, 1 and 2, there's your corner right there. So this is just before the corner, you need to put 2 in there, or 1 and 2. Now there's your corner bit right there. You're going to be putting 3 single crochets in there. Now being wary, you've got a tail on this one, so just pop a single crochet over the 1 single crochet over it there. Take out your stitch marker. Now be careful, you will need that stitch marker, so just leave it there. Now remembering guys, you are still crocheting over that tail end, and there's your second one, and there's your 3rd stitch. All right, pop your tail end at the back. Now before you go on, remember it's your 3rd, your 2nd, and that was your 1st stitch that you did. All right. Okay, your next step is to single crochet in your next space. 1 and 2, and then 1 and 2 in your next. You might come across a tighter stitch. You may have pulled it a bit like I've done there, but that still needs 2 single crochets. It all evens out in the wash, trust me. Whoa, not yet. I got crochet happy and forgot to weave in this tail end right here. Now guys, if you forget to crochet over that tail end, don't stress, because you can just weave that in, so it's no big deal. I'm just trying to show everyone how to crochet over their tail ends if they don't wash and block like I do. I wash and block everything. So a single crochet in there, 1, you don't need to, it's just me and my paranoia. 2, and I didn't wash and block this, not at all, because I wanted to show you how to crochet over the tail end. So there's 2 in there. Grab your red one and you are crocheting over that. 1 and 2. Okay, and then we are going all the way across your blues. Now, in reference to my sisters, they tend to give me a lot of ideas for the channel. Not all of them, but you know, some occasionally they say something and I write it down and I go away and do it. But I never officially thank them. So I'll have to have them on the channel and give them an official thank you for each idea that I have taken from them. I won't say taken, I'll say used. How's that? So I will get them on the channel one day, which I've done in the past, but I'll do it again when we can. And then they can see what has come of their idea. Okay. All right, single crochet in your next 2, and your next 1 and 2. There's no ends on this side, so they're on the other side. We've been crocheting over them, so it's been a good side, hasn't it? I love it when there's no ends. 1 and 2. Now there's your corner. Remember, you have a space before your corner, so pop in your 2, 1 and 2. And then you have your corner where you put in your 3 single crochets. So start 1, take that stitch marker out, you can actually pop that in while because you've just done it, so it can actually go straight back in there. Save you putting it down. 1, 2, and 3, and then you just put 2 in your next one. 1 and 2, and now there's that thread I spoke to you about earlier. If you were crocheting over it this way, your red would be on your blue, so it won't look right. So just pop it over, tuck it under your fingers at the back, and crochet over it with 1 single crochet. And as you do your single crochet, you can drop your thread. Okay, and then you do your next single crochet. And guess what? You have a blue thread the same. If you crochet over it, that's fine. I'm going to go the way I usually do. And what happens is, say if you've done it really loose there, because we don't knot ours. We don't knot it at all. I just pull it through and leave it there. You might want to tighten it up a little, because they're all nice and tight, but this one was a little bit loose. So by pulling it at the back tends to tighten it a little bit. Don't pull too tight, because you don't want to make it too tight. But just give it a gentle tug, and as you're doing it, you do your single crochet and you drop your thread. Okay, and do your second single crochet, and so on, and so on, and so on. Now, in reference to my friends, my crochet friends, I've already had one crochet friend on. Her name is Adriana. So she has been on here before, and we have done a tutorial with her, a square, which I'll actually put a link to that tutorial in the description box down below. It'll be a link to her interview and the tutorial, where we discuss the differences between tension and how I crochet very tightly and hers is not so tight. So there's so many different ways people crochet that can affect your crochet if you have different tension. Okay, there's a thread. We're going to grab that thread. Okay, normally I would have sent you off on your own, but I wanted to discuss a few things with you about crochet in general, and that was one of them, tension. Be wary of your tension. Your tension and my tension could be totally different, which would mean the size of your blanket or whatever you're working on would be different as well. Grab your red, pass it over, holding it with those 2 fingers there, crochet over it, just the 1 single crochet, and then drop. Now you can do your second single crochet. Easy. Now getting close to the end of the actual row. Okay, so there's 1 in there, or 1 in there, or 1 in your next, and a 1 in your next, or 1 in your next, or 1 in your next, and this is the second last space. I'm lying, try last. This is the last space before the corner. So we're going to put 2 single crochets in that last space, 1 and 2. Then we are going to slip stitch right into that very first space where our stitch marker is. So just pop your hook in and then take out your stitch marker. This is really tight. I should use the larger ones when I'm doing tutorials, shouldn't I? Deary me, I have large ones too, I just don't use them. All right, so there's your stitch. Pull your loop through, pull it through again, pull up a loop. You are going to cut your work. All right, now there you go. Now you might find this one's, oh, I'm sorry, this one's a little bit tight for this, but once we do that very next row, it's going to fill it up. We are going to change to our red. I'm making such a mess here. Oh gosh, you didn't see that. Oh good, you didn't see it. This is what happened. I got all the yarn tangled up. And look at that, yarn vomit. Give me 1 second, guys. Sorry about that, guys. I do apologise. All right, now I've lost the little stitch marker. Oh, here it is. You need your stitch marker for the next part, okay? Now, in here, we had, let me get that a little bit out of the way there so you can see. We had the 3 single crochets, 1, 2, and 3. All right, normally I would not start from this area, but to keep in sync with you guys, because I would have just started from another area. I never start from an area where I drop a tail, okay? That's just me being pedantic, unless the pattern calls for it. The pattern says start from the same place that you just finished off. This is where you need to start. We slip stitched into that space right there, all right? So now you grab your, bring that out a little bit, your red, pop it over your hook and pull that loop through. Now before you continue, whoops, grab your red tail. Hello, Mary, I'm pulling the wrong tail. Here we go. There we go. Under control. Get it right, Mary, gosh. All right. So now we are chaining 1. Oh, give you a nice close-up so you all can see. There you go. Okay. Chain 2 and chain 3. That's probably too close. We're going to put 4 double crochets in that same space. That's yarn over your hook, pop it in the space, pull up a loop, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through the first 2, yarn over, pull through the next 2. As you can see, I crocheted over that tail, and we're going to do it again. Yarn over, space, loop, 3 loops, yarn over, 2, yarn over, 2. So you've done 1, 2, you need 2 more. 1 and 2. So initially what you have there is 4 double crochets and chain 3s, which will classify as your 5th double crochet. So here we are. You have 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets, and there's your 3rd. You are going to just do a slip stitch into that 3rd. So 1, 2, pop into your 3rd, and do a slip stitch, which is just pulling the loop through and pulling the loop through to the loop on your hook. So it looks like that. Chaining up 1, 2, and 3. Yes. Now you're going to do 4 double crochets in that space. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yeah. Now you're going to do the same thing. Skip 1, 2, jump into your 3rd with a slip stitch, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and 4 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, skipping 2, 1, 2, jump into your 3rd with a slip stitch, chaining 3, 1, 2, and 3, and 4 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Skip 1, 2, pop it in your 3rd with a slip stitch, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and 4 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, I think you get the picture. So what I want you to do, I can get all these ends out the way. Sorry guys. What I would like for you to do, continue. Oh, bring that out. I'm clumsy today, aren't I? Continue in that manner. Get to your last few stitches before this corner and I'll meet you up. Alrighty guys, here I am at the end of the row. I have 1 and 2 stitches left, and then we jump into the corner with our 3rd, okay, which is exactly what we're going to do. So if you have more, just be wary, this can pull real tight if you haven't calculated properly, but you should have 1 and 2 left. So you're slip stitching into that stitch marker, pulling a loop through, pull it through the loop on your hook, chaining 1, 2, 3. Oh, let's pop that stitch marker out for 1 minute. Actually out completely, because you won't need that anymore. That's it. Okay, and then you're doing your normal double crochets in there. So you're doing your 4 double crochets, 1, 2 and 3. Oops, I'm sorry, 4. I've nearly forgot the 4th one. Okay, turning your work, 1, 2, jump into the 3rd one with a slip stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4 double crochets. 1, 2, 3. Whoops, how did it happen? It happens. 4, sometimes, I'm not watching. Skip 1, 2, and in that space, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And let me show you what you need to do. But before we do, I just wanted to show you how the pattern is actually laying, just so that you understand that how it's laying nice and straight and flat. If it's like this, then you haven't got enough stitches and it's pulling. If it's really bubblied out here, you've got too many stitches, okay? But see how gorgeously flat that, I love this border. Do you not love the fact that the red highlights it? I don't know, maybe it's just me. I'm just a red fanatic. Sorry, guys. So what I want you to do, just get to this very next corner that you come to and meet me up. Alrighty, guys, here we go. Here we go. Gorgeous. Oh my gosh. I just cannot stop staring at it. I don't know why. It's just one of those things, like very mesmerizing for me. But anyway, maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just going crochet mad. You know, that can happen. Crochet crazy lady. All right. Here we are at the end of this row. Now, before we continue, okay, I just want you to turn your work around, okay. Now, remember these bits and bobs right here. I'm just going to show you how to do one of them, how to weave in one of your ends. So grab a needle, and the reason I'm showing you this is I want you to do this first before you continue. Now, the reason is because when we come back, it's better to have no ends. That's just me being funny. You could do this at the end if you like, but I just want to show you quickly. We crocheted over that thread, yes? Now, we've crocheted over it once. We're going to go back the other way in a different area. Don't go back the same way you came, or you're going to unravel what you did. So just pick a stitch somewhere and then go back through the other way. Just being careful not to see your needle here. All right, so you're just going back the other way. I like to, in every tutorial, at least show you one thread, and you guys usually head off on your own and do it yourself. Don't pull it too tight. I just felt myself pulling that too tight then. Now you're going back the other way again, splitting yet again another thread. And the only reason I do that is so that way I know it's not going to unravel what we just did. Now before you put it through, make sure you can't see your needle here. You see it there, but it's only through the hole. Right. Move it over, see? It's just through the space. All right, so you just pop that needle through. Oh, that's nice and tight now. It's not going to come undone. So that's it. All you need to do is sew it through twice because you've already crocheted over it once. It's pretty coolio. So before we continue with that next row, I would like for you to weave in all these ends. But in the meantime, if you don't want to do that and you want to continue, that's fine too. Now, the reason I wanted you to do that was because sometimes when we are crocheting this bit, now I'm saying this because I made this mistake before. I crocheted this last piece here and this thread accidentally came under it like that. So it was actually sticking, and you can see the thread sticking up and under like that. So just be wary with your threads. Once you get to this stage, maybe in that final row that we just did, that would have been a better time to weave in those ends, okay? And then start that last row, this last row that we're doing now. Yes, it is the last row, guys. Oh, very exciting. So what I want you to do, let's finish off this corner and away we go. Now, here we have 2 more stitches left. 1 and 2. So we're going to jump into the stitch marker stitch, the third one. Now if you've only got one left, still jump into that stitch marker stitch. It'll keep you even for the rest of the row. Pull the loop through and through to the loop on your hook, chain 1, 2 and 3. Oops, get rid of that stitch marker. You don't need that there anymore, period, at all. All right, so now you're going to pop in your 3 double crochets. I'm sorry, try 4. Wake up, Mary. 4 double crochets. 2, 3 and 4. Yes? Then you turn your work. 1, 2, jump into your third. I think you guys, 1, 2 and 3, are getting the picture. Yes? Let's do 2. I'm sorry, 1, 2. Wake up, Mary. She's not good today. 3 and 4. Slip stitch 1, 2 into that third one right there. Whoops. Chain 1, 2 and 3. I'm going to let you head off on your own. All right, and do just this. All right, do exactly that till you get to there. Slip stitch, do your chain 3, take out your stitch marker, turn and get to about, I don't know, 5, 6 stitches away, and I'll explain what we're going to do next. Alrighty guys, here we are at the end of the row. All right, let's get a nice little close-up. Okay, so I need to skip 1, 2, jump into my next space there. Whoops, nearly did a stitch. 1, 2 and 3. Doing my last cluster set in that space, which is 1, 2, 3 and 4. All right. What you should have is skipping 1, 2, 3, and you should have that there. So yes, you may be out of whack. Don't stress. There were occasions that I was out of whack and I just jumped into the corner. It doesn't matter. It's because of the count on your single crochets. So don't stress. You just jump over all of that, slip stitch into that very same stitch that you first started off with. So pop your hook in that space, pull a loop through, pull the loop through on your hook, pull up a loop, give it a cut. Nice tug right there. Make sure it's a nice tight tug, that one. You're not exactly finished there because it doesn't exactly attach itself, does it? No. So what we're going to do, again, remember guys, this is only one way of doing this border. There are many other ways. Okay, this is just my way. Doesn't have to be the right way or the wrong way. It's just one way. Alright, so rethread your needle for this part here, because what you're going to do with this bit here, because as you can see it's kind of separated, it hasn't really closed it up, has it? No. So what you're going to do is just find that very first stitch down the bottom, really as low as you can go, right as low into that stitch there as you can go. Pop in, pull that through, close it up, don't pull too tight, go back. What you're going to do is go through the thickness of the blue underneath, and there you go. So what it's done is it's just closed it up. Looks like it's closed up. Okay, and all you need to do now is cross that way once, turn it over that way twice. You've got a bit of threads to weave in here, so let's just start with this one. Whoops, whoops, got caught. Okay, if you want to do it that third time, go all the way back into the knot. That might help keep it all into place, yeah? Making sure you're checking the front, that you're not coming out the other way. And cotton is always so hard to weave in, isn't it? You're forever splitting the yarn to get through. All right, very thick, you know, it happens. All right, so that's that. Now you have 2 other threads here you need to weave in. Let's start with the blue. The blue is in the row before. So the blue, if you want to stop from all this, you know, super thickness happening here, you can weave the blue right into that if you wanted to, or you can weave it back this way. Anyway, you like. I think I'll weave back into that blue right there. We have already weaved in there. I'm going to add this little bit, just a little bit, not much, because it's really super thick in there. You don't need to. You can go the other way if you like, which I probably would advise, because it's, oh my gosh, super thick. Super thick. All right, let's turn the other way. Gee, Mary, you had one job. One job you had, woman. All right, let's get this super thickness out of there. It goes. Super thickness out of the way. Okay. Now, make that tail a little bit shorter so you can get it through. That was my mistake in the first place. So just go back the other way. Going back the other way. Maybe not going through the full thickness, because that really is super thick. Good luck getting it through, guys. Oh, got it. I think we'll leave it there. Because it's so thick, that is not going to come undone. So give that blue a bit of a cut. Alright, now we get the red. This is your last end, guys, and then you are set and ready to go. And it's a little bit fray. When it's frayed, it's no good, because then you can't weave it in this. You can't actually thread it, and even then it's struggled to thread. And look at that. Don't you just like cotton sometimes? Not always, because cotton makes beautiful projects. Oh gosh. All right, so now we have, let's give that a tug, get rid of the blue. We have gone through this thickness here with the other thread. It's entirely up to you whether you want to go through it again. I would still go through it, because what will happen is it'll be nice and thick. That's not going to ever come undone. So just take a little bit of space right there. Okay, just making sure you can't see it from the front, and you can't. And just weave that in there, okay? That gave that a little bit of a tug into place. And let's go back the other way. And I think just two will be fine, because it's super thick. It'll keep everything in place. And the only reason it's thick is because we've weaved in quite a few ends in that section there. 2 or 3 different ends. All right, let's turn her around. Let's have a look-see. Oh, oh, oh. How super gorgeous. Super gorgeous. Yay. Ta-da! Now let me get my yarn bowl. And here we go. Ta-da! I mean, super gorgeous. How gorgeous does that look? Let's turn it around again, just for fun. Whoops. Give it nice and straight. And you know what? Turning it around one more time. It's a really heavy yarn bowl, by the way, guys. It's really quite heavy considering. So there you go. That is one little doily complete. Or you could use it as a placemat for your meals. You could use it for anything you like. If you made it a little bit smaller, you could have even used it for a washcloth as well. So many things you could have used this for. Okay, you could have crocheted on that side, and that could have been your right side, but I still find that the wrong way. Or you could have left it this side. It doesn't matter. If you were short on the ends, we allocated for that. We allocated. It didn't matter. If you were short on the end, just add a few more. Just take a few more. It doesn't matter. This is a kind of border that you can actually fudge, which I did towards the end, and that just looks pretty much the same. It's a bit higher than the rest. Just give the rest a bit of a tug, and it's done. Perfect. See? Ta-da! So thank you so much for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, do all those wonderful things you do for me. And don't forget to join us for this Wednesday's live at 4 p.m. Melbourne, Australia time, or Saturday mornings live this week coming at 10 a.m. Melbourne, Australia time. And there you go, guys. Isn't it gorgeous? Look at that. I can't get it all on the screen. Is it out? Yes, it is. Can't fit it all on the screen. I'll try. How's that? No, it's not going to fit. Thank you so much for watching, and guess what, guys? Ciao for now.